Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon I am going to be talking with you a bit more about Manchester City and the ongoing situation with Pep Guardiola, like I have been keeping you up to date on a regular basis. So if Pep Guardiola does decide to, leave Manchester City this summer, Manchester City have got quite a few managers on, well, they've got a couple of managers on their agenda who could replace him, and that's Maurcio Pottechtino from, of course, and Brenden, Rodgers from Leicester. So they are the two possible candidates that could replace Pep Guardiola. Now, obviously, Manchester City have been banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons by UEFA for, breaking financial fair play regulations, and City, of course, have been fined £25 million for this. And obviously, one of Pep Guardiola's ambitions is to win the Champions League with Man City, because Man City, of course, have never won the Champions League, and that's the only trophy they haven't won in their history. So reflects on this ban that Man City have got, this could make Pep Guardiola leave Manchester City this summer. Of course, Manchester City have appealed against the decision. Obviously, they'll throw a lot of money at the appeal, but, this appeal could, be a long process. So it could take weeks, it could take months, we may not even know until the summer. And also, there was some reports saying that City could have points deducted from them in the Premier League. But, that's not the adequate punishment. Like I mentioned, the punishment is the ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. Even Pep Guardiola was coming out, before this ban occurred, and he said, he could be sacked if Manchester City don't win, the Champions League this season. They are into the, knockout stages of the competition. They have got Real Madrid coming up. That's going to be very difficult for Manchester City. The furthest Manchester City have progressed in the competition is the semi-finals, of Manchester City. Pep Guardiola has won the Champions League as a manager, but he won it, during his time with Barcelona. Pep Guardiola now is into his 4th season at Man City. He has won over 100 games in the Premier League for Man City, and last season they won the domestic treble. They won the title the season before. I think they've won a couple of FA Cups, and, City are looking to win the Carabao Cup, for the 3rd time in a row this season. I think they will beat Aston Villa anywhere. So Guardiola has won 7 major honours since he got recommended in at Manchester City. And, he is a very, very good manager. But, like I did say, regarding Manchester City, they haven't built a great club. Obviously, the main explanations why they've been so good in the last 4 or 5 years is because, they have built a good squad. They have invested a lot of money into their team. They have spent a lot of money of Man City, and you can say they've purchased the vast majority of their success. But, I think it got revealed that Pep Guardiola spent like £1 billion, is it, in all his managerial career, including the money he spent at Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But more than half of this has been spent on that Manchester City team. And now with City, not being able to, play in any European competition for the next 2 seasons, they could also struggle to keep, some of their key players. I think, Sterling could move on, De Bruyne could move on, Laporte could move on, Aguero even. So they are going to struggle, to keep, some of their key players, because players to that level, do want to be in Champions League football. So yeah, Guardiola could be on his way in the summer. But obviously now 5th spot is a Champions League spot, and obviously, it's a lot of good news for, quite a few teams. It's good news for Man United, also to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Very good news for Arsenal, very good news for Everton, very good news for Sheffield United. So the teams that are outside the top 4, it's very good news. Also very good news for Liverpool. But yeah, so Mauricio Pochettino now, reportedly he's the favourite to take over at Manchester City. Of course, Mauricio Pochettino did reveal that he does want an immediate return to management, and he said this reflecting on his sacking from Tottenham last year. Now, obviously, we do know he's been relentlessly, linked with a managerial role at Manchester United. Obviously, we've been long admirers of Mauricio Pochettino. Don't forget, we was in for him after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December 2018. And I think we made a mistake by not recommending him in at that point. Obviously, before this ban occurred, it was looking very, very likely that Pochettino would have been coming to Manchester United to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the end of the season, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been under intense pressure this season. Obviously, reflecting on our inconsistency, and we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. And since Solskjaer got the job on a permanent basis, you know, we have lost more games in the Premier League than we've won. So his record is disastrous. And obviously, I did say if we were to get Pochettino, would wait until the end of the season, because obviously, you know, if Pochettino was to get another job before the end of this season, Tottenham then would be entitled to £10 million in compensation. But Pochettino did reveal that, you know, he wants to remain in the Premier League. He did say he's interested in taking over at Manchester United, and I think he's a much better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, Pochettino is well proven in the Premier League. He's good at developing young players. You know, I think his philosophy would be right for the club. My only element of concern about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. But he come out, did Pochettino, and he said, you know, his Tottenham legacy was more important than winning trophies. Because Tottenham made a mistake by getting rid of him, because he endured 5.5 good years with Tottenham. You know, last season progressed them to their first ever Champions League final. Got them quite a few third place finishes, fourth place finishes. I think in his first season with Tottenham, you know, progressed them to the League Cup final. So it was very, very good, you know, what Mauricio Pochettino did. And obviously, so far in his managerial career, he has managed 3 clubs. That's Espanyol, Southampton and Tottenham. They're the 3 clubs he has managed so far, Pochettino. So he does want to continue managing in the Premier League. But now, reflecting on this ban, I think Pochettino is now favourite to take over at Manchester City if Pep Guardiola does decide to go in the summer. I think Guardiola probably will go back to Barcelona maybe. If he doesn't go back to Barcelona, I think he will go back to Bayern Munich. But, you know, the main explanation why Guardiola's as good as he is, you know, is because of Marcelo Bielsa, because he worked alongside Marcelo Bielsa when he was younger. I can't remember where it was, but they did, you know, work together, so you can say Guardiola is following Marcelo Bielsa's philosophy. But yeah, Guardiola, you know, very, very good manager, won a hell of a lot of trophies and that, you know, but I think he could now leave Man City in the summer. So, you know, this is very worrying for Manchester City. But they did give their overarching view on it, and they said, you know, they're not surprised by the decision. But obviously, you know, on the other hand, they are very disappointed. But, you know, maybe I don't see them winning the appeal. You know, if it was to be overturned, you know, do you think Guardiola then, you know, would stay at Manchester City? You know, do you think he'd be there next season if this ban, you know, did get overturned? Do you think he would be there next season? I think Pep Guardiola's contract with Man City is due to expire as well at the end of next season. Now, Brendan Rodgers, he's another manager that's on Manchester City's agenda. Now, of course, Brendan Rodgers has been at Leicester for a year now, is it? Or just over the year. I think Leicester did recommend him in, was it in January or February 2019? And I think he's done really, really well for Leicester as Brendan Rodgers, so you've got to, you know, praise him for that. He's progressed Leicester to, 3rd in the Premier League. They are only 1 point behind 2nd. And Leicester are definitely not going to finish in the top 4 this season. And, you know, Brendan Rodgers is actually, you know, a very, very good manager. You know, don't forget Brendan Rodgers extended his contract earlier on the season with Leicester until 2025. He signed a 5.5-year deal, plus he got a pay rise. And, you know, when he initially joined Leicester, you know, he signed like a 3.5-year deal. But reflecting on how good he did, Leicester did, you know, give him a contract extension, you know, Brendan Rodgers. And Brendan Rodgers, you know, has recruited quite a few players at Leicester, you know, in the year so he's been there. You know, I think last summer, didn't he get Ndidi in, Youri Tielemans, James Justin, you know, Perez. And don't forget, you know, credit Leicester because, you know, they have lost quite a few of their key players in recent years. You know, they lost Maguire to us last summer for 80 million. They did generate a substantial amount for his departure. They lost Riyad Mahrez. They obviously lost N'Golo Kante, who won the title with Leicester in his first season. Then also, obviously, he's now at Chelsea and won the title with Chelsea in his first season. And also, too, they lost Danny Drinkwater, did Leicester, so they have lost quite a few of their key players. But Leicester have got a pretty decent squad. I think Leicester will try and probably make more investment in the summer, though. You know, James Maddison, I rate him a lot. You know, I like Ben Chilwell, very, very good left-back. You know, but, yeah. But I think City have probably got more chance of getting Pottechtino in at the end of the season if Guardiola goes than Brendan Rodgers. But Brendan Rodgers, you know, hasn't only done good with Leicester. You know, I think he also did really, really well during his 3 years he endured with Celtic. Don't forget, he also enjoyed one good season with Liverpool, did Rodgers. You know, I thought he did well at Swansea. I think when he was at Liverpool, he emulated the football he produced at Swansea and brought that to Liverpool. That's what he did. And obviously, I think when he was a lot younger, he managed Reading, Watford and Chelsea. So, yeah, so they're the two managers on Manchester City's agenda who could replace Pep Guardiola. So, just wanted to give you the latest news on that. So, now we'll delve into some news regarding Manchester United. So, I've been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Man United, and I've just been reading recent reports today, and it does actually, say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does fear his job. He fears his job because Ed Woodward has failed to secure the 4 January signings that he requested. So Solskjaer has revealed that he wanted to make 4 signings in the January transfer window, but we only ended up making 2 signings in the January transfer window. You know, we got Bruno Fernandes in for £68 million with add-ons included. He's our 4th most expensive signing, and we've got Odion Ighalo in on loan until the end of the season. So, be interested to see how he does, and he's a good cover-up for Marcus Rashford. And I think Solskjaer, will be sacked as Manchester United manager. It's just a matter of time. He definitely won't see out his 2.5 years left that he's got on his deal at the football club. And Solskjaer, I think, has been here long enough now. He's been at Manchester United over the year. He's been here 14 months. He's been permanent manager for 11 months. And Man United have made a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and this is not only, but it's one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. The mistake we did make was, giving Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. We should have never given the job on a permanent basis, but the main explanation why we're giving the job full time is reflecting, what he did, when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well when he was the interim manager. But, Solskjaer was lucky in the first place, to get the interim job at Manchester United, to be quite honest with you. But he isn't the long-term solution for the club. And I've already give you, I'll give you loads of reasons why I don't think Solskjaer's the right manager for Manchester United, because I just don't think his managerial style suits the club, despite the fact that he knows the club inside out. I think he's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. I think some of his substitutions have been questionable. Doesn't really have a plan A, doesn't have a plan B and that. And, just isn't the right man for Manchester United. Obviously, we said, the other week that if we fail to qualify for Europe, if we fail to qualify for Europe or we finish outside the top 6, then it's likely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager. If we was to get European football and we was, to finish within the top 6, then there's a chance Solskjaer will be given another season at Manchester United. But I think regardless of this, I think, Man United will end up getting rid of him anyway. I'm surprised he's lasted as long as he has, Solskjaer. He is still at the club, because I think the main explanation why he's still here is because with him being a club legend and that, and, reflecting on what he did as a player, because he was a great player for 11 years. I think our board are softening our stance on Solskjaer. I think if it had been any other manager, I think, they would have been gone a while back, to be quite honest with you. Manchester United are not known for a sacking football club, despite the fact that we've sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era, and Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager. But, like I mentioned, there's not only problems with the management, but on the other hand, regardless who our manager is, whether it's Solskjaer, whether it'd be Pottechtino, whether it'd be, Massimiliano Allegri, I just don't see any of them invoking Ferguson's legacy at the club, because Ferguson was unbelievable for Manchester United. He enjoyed, 26, 27 years at the club, Alex Ferguson. Obviously didn't win out in his first 4 years, but then after not winning out in his first 4 years, it was unbelievable then what he went and accomplished, Alex Ferguson. So I can't see us being the team that we was under Alex Ferguson, to be quite honest with you. The only mistake Ferguson did make was ever recommending David Moyes in, but the main explanation why I recommended David Moyes in is because, they was both Scottish, but we knew that Moyes was never going to be the right manager for Man United. What we should have done is we should have recommended Mourinho in after Ferguson retired. Then it may have been a different story with Manchester United, definitely. But for me, Solskjaer is too inexperienced as a manager. And I've got the same perception on Carrick and McKenna. They're both inexperienced. But, Solskjaer, before he was at Man United, obviously he managed Mould, won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. And before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. And he enjoyed a really short tenure with Cardiff. I think he only managed around 28 or 29 games for Cardiff. But his record was disastrous at Cardiff. And the main explanation why he got sacked from Cardiff is, because he got, Cardiff relegated, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But he's not the right manager for Manchester United. But revert back to what I said, there's not only problems with the management, there's cultural problems at the club, and we need someone to come in to address the cultural problems. Obviously there's been a lot of problems the way the club's being run. The fans have got doubts, about, Ed Woodward, the executive chairman, who's obviously, been here since 2012. What's Ed Woodward done? All he's done is, a lot of money's been invested into the club. He's sacked 3 managers. And Ed Woodward, I think, last summer should have brought a director of football in. So then in that aspect, Ed Woodward could have moved away from the footballing decisions. And there was quite a few former Man United players linked with that director's role last summer. Some people believe that maybe Solskjaer will be better, like as a, football director or, coaching assistant and actually a manager. But I don't think he would be from my own perception. But we should have got a director of footballing, that's one of the structural changes that I said we needed at the football club. But with Ed Woodward, we need to get him out of the club. We've also got to get the Glazers out of the club because they've been generating money out of this club for several years. I think the Glazers have been here since 2005. So that's 15 years now. There's also problems on the pitch because there's still a lot of aspects of our game that need to improve. There's still a lot of deadwood at Manchester United that need to go in the summer. And we will get rid of players in the summer because Solskjaer's confirmed there will be departures in the summer, and we'll generate some money for their departures because obviously a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. Obviously this year we saw Ashley Young go to Inter Milan for 1.5 million after he enjoyed 8.5 years at the club. We saw Marcus Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes, so he made a return to Argentina. Obviously, last summer we saw Smalling go out on loan to Roma. Smalling enjoyed 9 years at Man United. We saw Darmian go. We saw Herrera go. I think that was a mistake for Man United letting Ander Herrera go. Especially, it was infuriating because we let his contract run down and we let him go on a free transfer. You've got to say Ander Herrera was one of our best players since the Ferguson era. He was at Manchester United 5 years. We let, obviously, Fellaini go. That was the right decision. Fellaini endured 6 years at Manchester United. We paid 27.5 million for him. And obviously Sanchez went on loan to Inter Milan. Despite the fact that he's on loan with Inter Milan, we are still paying the vast majority of his wages because I still believe we're paying Sanchez around £300,000 a week. And I think Inter Milan are paying the other £100,000 a week. Sanchez is not coming back to Manchester United this summer, which is good news. Even though Solskjaer did say last month, Sanchez would have been returning in the summer to come and prove everybody wrong. But I'm glad, Sanchez is not returning. And of course, Romelu Lukaku left. I'm happy with the money we generated from his departure, but I think it was a mistake letting him go because Lukaku was very, very good for us. He endured 2 years at Man United, but I think analysing his first season at Man United, he was exceptional. I know his record against the big teams weren't so good, and he was a big game battler. His first touch concerned a lot of people, but I think prior to that, very, very good player. His pedigree in the Premier League, very, very good, reflects on the goals he scored, including the goals he scored at Everton. But in his 2 years at Man United, he scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions. But he had to go because he initially lost his place in the team. But I think now at Inter Milan, he is firing all cylinders. So he's doing really, really well for Inter Milan. So that was a mistake Man United made by getting rid of Lukaku and Ander Herrera. Of course, you've got Dean Henson now on loan with Sheffield United. I think he probably will return to Manchester United after his loan spell with Sheffield United, and he's been a revelation for Sheffield United, and he's gained more experience now as Dean Henderson. It was the right decision from the club to put him out on loan to obviously gain him more experience, but I think if he comes back to Man United, we need to put him as our number one goalkeeper. David De Gea is becoming a liability now. Hasn't been so good in the last year and a half or so as De Gea. Still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world is De Gea. He's now into his 9th season at Man United. He's endured 8 years here. He's still had a good 6.5, 7 years out of the 8 years he's been at the football club though, so I credit him for that. But, he's been a liability for the last year and a half or so, like I mentioned. We've got Romero as our second choice. He tends to play in the cup games. We've also got, Lee Grant, who we got from Stoke. But yeah, so if Dean Henderson comes back, he needs to be first choice, and I think a lot of Manchester United fans will agree with me on that. Valencia as well, I forgot to mention, he left at the end of last season after he endured 10 years at the football club. So yeah, he was another long-serving player, was Valencia. We've had quite a few long-serving players. There's still long-serving players now that are at the football club at the moment. De Gea's still here. Jones is still here. Jones is into his 9th season as a Manchester United player now. Mata's now into his 6th season at the club. Juan Mata is a good backup to Bruno Fernandes. Rashford's been here for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7 as Rashford. And, he's been in the senior squad with us since 2016. Obviously, he's out for at least the next couple of months with injuries, Rashford. He's got a back injury, and Rashford's been one of our best players this season, but he's definitely the long-term solution for Man United. You've got Anthony Martial now, that's into his 5th season at the club. Martial is definitely becoming a liability, and if he continues with his bad run of performances, then I would definitely consider offloading Anthony Martial in the summer. He's been subjected to transfer speculation in the past, but he's receiving a lot of criticism, from the likes of Shearer, that reflecting on his bad run of performances. Either now Martial needs to be dropped completely, or he needs to be reverted back to the left-hand side, because that left-hand side is his predominant position. It's only been this season he's been operating in that number 9 role, but now Odion Igalo's in. We need to put him in the number 9 and revert Martial back to the left-hand side. And if we don't get the best out of him there, then we need to get rid of Anthony Martial in the summer. Man United paid 36 million for Martial from Monaco back in 2015, potentially rising up to 57 or 58 million based on goals and achievements. But the best season I think Anthony Martial has enjoyed at United was his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. But yeah, he is losing it now, is Anthony Martial, and he's the age of 24. He's the age of 24. But yeah, like I mentioned, more players will go in the summer. The players I expect to go in the summer is Phil Jones. Well, I want him to go. Whether he does or not, I don't know. I want Matic to go. He's just come back from suspension, by the way, so he will be available for Chelsea. More than likely, he'll be playing alongside Fred in our midfield. Matic, again, we overpaid for Matic. We paid 40 million for Matic, back in 2017. He's now into his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. But he's too slow, too easily predictable. Get rid of him. His current contract expires at the end of the season. I would get rid of Jesse Lingard. He's another one I've got a limit of concerns about, Jesse Lingard. Last season didn't score 1 goal or he didn't register 1 single assist in the Premier League, so that indicates how bad Jesse Lingard has been. And he's been here for several years as Jesse Lingard. Up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with the club. He's had loan spells as well. He's been on loan, I think, with Leicester, Derby, Brighton, Birmingham as the player. But we've seen Lingard good as a Manchester United player, but he's just been very, very poor in the last year or so at least. Whether you play him in a number 10 or whether you play him on the right, we just can't seem to get the best out of him. So he needs to be dropped as Jesse Lingard, and we've got to get rid of him in the summer. I think he's got around 18 months left, has he, on his current contract, something like that, with an option to extend it by a further year. But reflect on his status at the club and the number of years he's been here, he should be performing well, but he isn't. Pereira's a liability as well. I think the only reason we've been playing Pereira a lot is with the injury to Scott McTominay. So I think definitely Andres Pereira needs to be moved on in the summer. And Chong, I think he's another one, because he hasn't emulated that level as yet. Luke Shaw probably would get rid of him because Brandon Williams is now our first choice left back, and you've got a lot of Manchester United fans, demanding Williams to start against Chelsea over Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is highly experienced. Obviously, Brandon Williams is still inexperienced, but Brandon Williams is a much better solution than Luke Shaw. So Luke Shaw could be possibly moved on in the summer. So yeah, I expect around 4 or 5 players to go in this summer. But on the other hand, there's still players at Manchester United I would be definitely determined to keep. Like I mentioned, I'd keep Rashford, keep McTominay, because I thought before he got injured he did well. Don't forget, he was part of the one with a training camp in Spain. He's stepping his fitness regime up, McTominay, but he's still not ready for Chelsea. Tuan Zebe, I'd keep him. I know he's been injured, but he did well before he got injured. He's also stepping his fitness regime up. Fosu Mensah stepping his fitness regime up, but they are not available for the game against Chelsea. Keep Fred, he's another one I'd keep, because I think recently he's rejuvenated himself as Fred. he's rejuvenated himself as Fred. He really, really has. And, you know, to be fair to him, he never really got his opportunities, did he, under Jose Mourinho? Because, you know, Jose Mourinho recommended him in from Shakhtar Donetsk for £50 million. So, yeah, definitely would keep Fred. Keep Lindelof. I'd keep the three signings that were recommended in last summer in James, Bissaka and Harry Maguire. So, yeah, these two players I would be determined to keep at the club. Definitely. Obviously, I give you the news regarding Paul Pogba, didn't I, earlier on? Paul Pogba's one of the players that's definitely leaving Manchester United in the summer. Obviously, you know, a lot of Manchester United are very infuriated with what Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has come out and recently said regarding Paul Pogba. You know, Raiola coming out saying that, you know, Paul Pogba is likely to leave Man United in the summer if Man United don't qualify for the Champions League. And he's also said Paul Pogba didn't join the club to not challenge for titles. And he's actually, you know, reiterated that his, you know, preferred destination is Juventus. So he probably will make a return to Turin in the summer, because Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years in Juventus. But the vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison. I think it's been revealed that we want around, is it £130 million for Paul Pogba in the summer. Obviously, we've got to sell him for more than what we paid for him, because we did pay £89 million for him. So obviously he's our most expensive signing. The Daily Mail said the other day, you know, we was willing to let him go for just £83 million. That's a substantial amount, but that's £6 million less than what we paid for him from Juventus. You know, so we need to try and get at least £110 million for Pogba. You know, his agent Mini Raiola came out and, you know, also said that Italy is like a second home to him. But he will make a return back to Turin. I know Real Madrid have been in for him. You know, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked to him last summer. But the main explanation why Real Madrid didn't get him last summer is reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him. Because I think we wanted around £150 million for him last summer. Or was it £160 million? But Real Madrid were not determined to pay this for the player. But last summer, his preference was a move to Real Madrid. And obviously, you know, Pogba's appearances have been limited this season anyway. The main explanation is because obviously he's had a few injuries. He's only played 8 games this season as Pogba. Solskjaer did reveal last month that Pogba, you know, should have been back sometime this month, but obviously that's not the case now. I think the earliest we're looking at Paul Pogba being back is for the Manchester derby, and it's not fully sure he will be back for the Man City game, but we've got to be hopeful, because we will look better in that midfield, you know, when Paul Pogba does return. Pogba's got 2 years left on his deal. Oh, not 2 years, sorry. He's heading into the final year of his current deal. But it would be 2 years if, you know, we extend his contract, which I don't think Manchester United are going to do anywhere, because he's on his way out in the summer. He's already told his teammates that he's leaving Manchester United, Paul Pogba. And obviously we can afford to let Pogba go if we can, you know, get Grealish and Maddison in. I would be very excited about the prospect of, you know, Grealish and Maddison playing alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield and that. And then we wouldn't look static in that midfield, you know, we'd look very, very good in that midfield. You know, to be quite honest with you, but I would be excited about that. But yeah, Pogba is on his way out of the football club. I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Massimiliano Allegri earlier on. Obviously now, according to reports, he's in pole position to become Man United's new manager, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, you know, the rumours have just re-emerged about Massimiliano Allegri, because, you know, we haven't heard, the rumours that died down for a while about him coming to Man United, because it was earlier on in the season that there was speculation about him coming in. He's keen on taking over at Manchester United. He's Massimiliano Allegri. Also, he's been linked to quite a few other managerial roles. He's been, you know, there's been talks about him going back to Juventus to replace Sarri, but that won't happen. Going back to AC Milan, PSG have also been linked with him, but he's interested in coming to Manchester United. So it's probably more chance for us now getting Allegri than Mauricio Pottechtino. You know, Allegri, of course, has been managerless since the end of last season. Don't forget, he did resign as Juventus manager. He endured 5 years with them, like I mentioned, managed a total of 271 games and won 191, won 5 Serie A titles, 4 Coppa Italians, and progressed Juventus to 2 Champions League finals. He has been learning English for quite some time in preparation for his potential move. But, you know, if Massimiliano Allegri was to come to the Premier League anyway, Man United would be only the option, because, you know, you've had Arsenal who got Mikel Arteta in not too long ago. You know, Tottenham got Jose Mourinho win, so I think, you know, that would be the only option for him in the Premier League. Reports came out from Italy saying that Massimiliano Allegri had agreed a deal to join a Premier League club in the summer, but, you know, that Premier League club didn't get revealed, but he has been linked with a move to Manchester United and that. But again, I think he'd be a better manager than Solskjaer. He's got a good pedigree behind him. He hasn't managed in the Premier League. That's my only element of concern. Up until this point, he has spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy. Also spent the entirety of his playing career in Italy, you know, did Massimiliano Allegri. But, you know, if recent reports are to be believed, it's looking likely, you know, he will be coming in. But I think, you know, we won't make the move for Massimiliano Allegri until the summer. Well, this is what the Daily Mail had said. You know, but obviously if we was to wait until the summer, then obviously that would mean then Massimiliano Allegri would have been managerless for 12 months. So it would have took him 12 months. It would have took him... It would have took him 12 months and that. But yeah, he's been managerless, like I mentioned, since the end of last season as Massimiliano Allegri. So do you think he'd be the right manager for Manchester United? Do let me know. And that's mainly everything to update you with today, guys. Obviously, a big game tomorrow for Man United against Chelsea. I've already given you the team news that. Give my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. Odin Ighalo will be involved. I don't know if he's going to be making his debut, though. Solskjaer failed to say. Fernandes will be making his second appearance tomorrow. And it's a game Manchester United must win if we are to, you know, to keep our hopes up for that top 4, because we are 6 points behind top 4 at the moment. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And on this video, next video I'll do, which will be later on, it will be tonight, I think now, I'll be giving you a preview for the Atletico Madrid and Liverpool game in the last 16 of the Champions League. So yeah, take care, God bless, see you all again very, very soon.